All right, good evening, everybody. I would like to call to your attention, this is a revocation hearing for 21 Distillery Road, a short-term rental property within the town of Warwick whereby a short-term rental permit was revoked by the building department for various reasons. And I assume that the contingents we have here are members of 21 Distillery. All right, if you would like to come up to the podium here, state your name and your address, and however you'd like to address the town board.
And can you spell your name, please? Okay, Robin, R-O-B-I-N, and the last name is Mazzoca, M-A-Z-Z-O-C-C-A. So I'm the owner, me and my husband, of 21 Distillery Road in Warwick. We obtained the property last August. We decided to do a couple of Airbnb rentals, just like the first time learning. I had somebody write up like a little brief paragraph. My cousin's a grant writer. I'm not the best writer and all that, so she wrote me up like a little blurb to put on the website. And I believe at the time she wrote the incorrect writing of what we could do with that property. And in terms of learning, I called the town maybe a week prior to the letter that we got the violation, and I spoke to a woman, Stephanie, and I asked, like, oh, can we do this? Like, just ask permission, because we're new. Me and my daughter are moving up here full-time as of June. She's going to be attending Warwick Valley High School, and I don't want to do anything that I'm not supposed to, and she says to me that you cannot do this, absolutely not. You can't have any events, you can't have any parties. So I said, all right. I asked for permission. I found out the answer. Like I said, I'm just learning this whole Airbnb process, short-term rental. And then a week later, I got the violation in the mail. Since then, though, I went on myself and I changed everything that it should be on Airbnb that said it's not supposed to. Until you guys said that, like, we're definitely not allowed to have the Airbnb. It's still listed right now, but I'm not accepting any reservations. But I went on and changed everything to as it should be, as you guys would want, that you can't have any events and nobody's allowed to stay in any part of the property that they shouldn't. And what was it else? Yeah, no private events or parties.
I think there were a few things. The loft, not using the loft as a bedroom,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
The on-site catering, the on-site parties, the on-site events, and the loft. So those have been removed.
Yeah, everything. I have printed out everything that, like, what it says now, or whoever reviews the Airbnb account can look and see that everything's been changed to the correct way that it should be. We haven't even had anybody stay. Like, I have 3 reservations on there that have, like, reviews, and the 3 people are my family that, like, I totaled it out 0, because to be a super host in the town, or like be a host, we have to have good standing reviews. So my family, like, wrote, like, oh, we stayed there, and they did. So, like, I haven't even, like, had any rentals at the property yet. So I haven't even had anybody stay. Nobody's done anything that they shouldn't have. Or
From the time that you opened up the short-term rental till now, you've never had the
Not
public
one
stay
person.
on the property?
Not one person. Nobody has stayed. Nope.
So you haven't made $1 from that property?
0.
Would you be able to provide that as some sort of documentation to the town board?
The 3 reviews that are on there are all family members. Everybody they're all my family. Everybody came over for a private family Thanksgiving dinner, which I asked Stephanie that too. Can I have a private, like, it's, a family? Like, I'm sure everybody here has, Thanksgiving dinner. So my family was over, and they used that stay as, like, their blurb for their review. And everybody's totaled to 0. Like, you can do that on Airbnb. Like, they can make a reservation, then you go and give a discount, make it 0, and then they wrote a review. You can't write a review unless you stay.
Right.
So I have not had it rented out once. I only have 1 rental that will be for July, and I have not canceled them yet until this hearing.
Okay. You should be fine for July.
Okay.
I'd like you to provide documentation that shows that you've generated no profit, no revenue through that Airbnb. I think that would be compelling information for the town board to consider.
Okay.
And if you can do that, then we'll revisit this, and I would think probably have a positive outcome.
Okay.
All right?
Sorry.
No problem.
All right,
That's all right.
thank
Accidents
you.
happen. Just, you know, we are trying to be very strict with short-term rentals because a lot of people invest a lot of money into doing it correctly, and we want to make sure that property values and neighbors are protected, and investments are protected, and we just want to make sure that everybody's following the rules.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate when people do, and you know, we understand that mistakes do occur. So if you can, just try to get that to me maybe through email tomorrow, I would hope.
Is
And
there an email that I can?
supervisor@townofwarwick.org, and just send that over to me, and then the town board will consider how to move from there.
Perfect.
All right?
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for coming. Are there any other comments on the revocation hearing? There being none, may I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Supervisor, I would say that at this time, I recommend you reserve decision pending the provision of the additional information, and then we would close the hearing.
Okay. We do reserve that. You made the motion, Tom?
I make the motion of what John said.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're out of the revocation hearing, and we'll move into our regular meeting. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. All right. At this time, I would like to call to order the town board meeting for April 11th. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Supervisor Dwyer?
Here.
Councilman Cole?
Here.
Councilman D'Angelo?
Here.
Councilman Mattingly?
Present.
Councilman Shuback?
Here.
Attorney Buckheit?
Here.
DPW Commissioner Astorino? Recreational Director Sam Walter? And our K-9 police officer, Kirstner, representing our police department tonight.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the meeting minutes for the March 28th general meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Can I have a motion for the public hearing minutes, March 28th?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to accept the minutes of the March 28th public hearing for the HUD resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Correspondence is listed here. If you guys have packets of information. Did you want an agenda? Did you grab an agenda? No, I didn't. Okay, you're more than welcome to grab one. The correspondence that's been received through the town clerk's office is listed as addendum 1. Is there any board discussion on any of the correspondence? There being none, with no visiting elected officials. DPW report is listed as addendum number 2 for those who are interested. The Parks Department is listed as addendum number 3. The environmental consultant's report will come in for the next meeting. At this time, we'll go into councilman reports, beginning with Councilman D'Angelo.
Good evening. Well, the Humane Society, they have new stainless steel exterior gates and insulated chutes for the kennels. They're scheduled to be installed beginning about April 15th. They hope to be able to resurface all of the kennel flooring, both inside and outside, later this spring, with donations from their building fund. A new play yard for shelter dogs was created last fall with a generous donation of sod from DeBuck's Sod Farm. They have a trapped, neuter, returned 47 of about 55 cats from one local colony, admitting to the shelter 27 friendly cats and placing them up for adoption. This is an ongoing effort with a team of volunteers who have arranged to feed and monitor the returned cats on a daily basis since their caregiver passed away, making this a managed colony once all of the cats have been spayed and neutered. Private donations and funding for the Feral Fund supports this effort. We're seeking special foster to adopt 4 local families. They have 4 Great Dane female puppies who will eventually weigh about 120 pounds. Dog adoption applications can be downloaded at wvhumane.org under the Forms and Downloads tab. And lastly, April is Prevention of Animal Cruelty Month to help raise awareness about animal abuse, which usually includes neglect. They have the Princess Fund, established in 2007, helps them help other victims of animal abuse and neglect with their medical and daily expenses during their often long-term recovery period for emotional and physical injuries. Donations to the Princess Fund are greatly appreciated and can be made via PayPal at wvhumane.org or by mail to WVHS, P.O. Box 61, Warwick, New York, 10990. And they want to thank you for all the public for the donations. Okay, that's all I have for the Humane Society. For the Town of Warwick Friendly Visitor Program for the month of March, the number of neighbors assisted was 31. The total number of volunteers assisting those neighbors was 24. And the total number of services provided by the volunteers for the month of March was 271. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Councilman Cole, your report, please.
Thank you. Work continues up at Mountain Lake Park for clearing and expanding the parking lot area. Also, they're still removing the dead trees and cleaning up invasive vegetation around the picnic area so we can have more room to picnic in the shade. Thank you for the DPW for that. The Warwick Shade Tree Commission, Sustainable Warwick, and the Warwick Valley Rotary have donated 8 trees to the park. And please join us at the park for the planting and celebration of Arbor Day on April 27th at 10 a.m. The upcoming events at the park include the spring pickleball clinics. I've already signed up. Have you? No? I'm good. The guided hikes, they're very nice. They have a nice trail going around the lake there. And the pool seasons and swim passes, the best price is the earliest you can get in there. You can go online and get them. There's a couple of events going on at the theater. The Greenwood Lake Theater Company presents Steel Magnolias on May 4th, 5th, 11th, and 12th, plus a potluck and cabaret, the play cabaret, on May 10th. All this information can be found, like I go to these things all the time, there's so much going on, at Mountain Lake Park. It's mtlakepark.com. Anything else, Samantha? Okay, that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Councilman Mattingly, your report, please.
We did receive some bids for the RFP that we posted in March for the fuels, propane, diesel, number 2 fuel oil, and gasoline. We are reviewing those at this point, I and Eileen and Supervisor Dwyer. We may actually do another RFP to try to obtain some better pricing. We may look at purchasing our own propane tanks, which would allow us to get even more competitive pricing for particularly propane. But again, we're assessing all the bids for all 4 fuels and determining what's the best way to go for all that. I also had made a suggestion. We've got a lot of products like the fuels that we need to bid for on a regular basis, and it's a little bit of a cumbersome challenge for us. And I had spoken to Supervisor Dwyer earlier this week about finding a way of creating a process, frankly, and possibly even automating those RFPs on a regular basis. So it might take a little bit of time to create a system, input the information about all of the contracts and when the contracts are expiring. But the idea would be to have all of our contracts in some type of database where on a monthly basis we would maybe have the next 90 days of expirations come up on a report and be able to just get those sent out, especially if we can the level of automation, we could take a look at and try to figure that out. But I think that would be an opportunity for us to really stay on top of that and get the best prices for everything we buy, and do our best to obviously save taxpayer money. I think that's all I have tonight.
Very good. Thank you. Councilman Schuback, your report, please.
I would just like to say that all the parks are open except for the pool and the beach, so that'll be Memorial Day. You know, they've been working hard getting them all ready. And also, too, being that we had a very mild winter, we had a lot of savings in salt. We didn't use our allotment, so hopefully we could take some of that savings and maybe do some more road work, repairs, and fix up some more, blacktop a little bit more area. But we'll do something good with that money because we saved a lot of money this year for not using all the salt. That's it.
Very good. Attorney Buckeye, do you have a report?
Thank you, Supervisor Dwyer. As I always say, my report is largely confidential. However, I'm prepared to answer any questions from the town board.
Are there any questions for the attorney from the board? No. There being none, thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, your report, please.
Okay, the fees collected for March 2024 were $17,077.24, and the fees paid out were $2,193.85. We had a bid proposal to prep and install vinyl flooring in the Receiver of Taxes office at the Town Hall. The first was from Floor Coverings International for $2,950. The second was Superior Floors for $3,000. And then we reached out to Powell Flooring and McGuire's Hardwood Flooring, Inc., and they did not submit anything. Also, you'll see in my report is the Board of Elections' unofficial results for the 2024 presidential primary. They're always updating it. These results are according to the Orange County Board of Elections, so you can go on their website and always look for the updates. Then I had a request for a proposal for maintenance and snow removal for Kings Estate Park. The first was from Elegant Landscaping for $23,000, and the second was Landscape Impressions Associates for $89,230. We have a bid request for camera in the sanitary sewer lines at Mountain Lake Park. The first is from TAM Enterprises for $3,200. The second was from Coppola for $3,995, and the third was GPRS. It was $2,900, but that did not include the jetting the line. Also, I want to let people know that Orange County Mobile DMV unit will be at the Florida Library on Tuesday, April 16th, located at 4 Cone Circle in the Village of Florida. They're open from 10 to 12. They close for lunch from 12 to 1, and then they reopen from 1 to 1:30. Everything that you would do at the DMV in Goshen, you can do there in the parking lot. So, and they're pretty quick too, so it's a good thing. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, my report this evening consists of a summary of proposed resolutions the board will consider later in the meeting. The resolutions we discussed, among many, were the Orange County Tourism Grant. The town board will be submitting a grant to support the Fuller Moon Arts Festival at the Mountain Lake Park. We will be hiring a part-time groundskeeper, Thomas Schweigert, at a rate of $18 per hour. We are going to adopt a resolution to select HDR as our engineering firm to do the FEMA culvert project replacement throughout the town. We have several bid results that the clerk just mentioned. We're going to vote on the results of those bids. We are going to schedule a public hearing on the Wickham Sewer District upgrade project. This is a project that we've been discussing, I think, every single board meeting since I've been here, where the Wickham Sewer District, which serves Kings Estates, Wickham Village, as well as other parts surrounding the old prison property, that sewer plant was built in the 1980s, and it is in desperate need of repair, and the approximate cost is anywhere between $12 and $16 million to bring that plant back to what it needs to be, and to prevent future emergency costs, which, as we have found, are generally double, if not more, when you're trying to repair something under an emergency basis. So we're trying to proactively look for grant funding to help offset any costs, pretty much any and all costs associated with the Wickham Sewer District plant. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a public hearing scheduled for May 16th at our town board meeting, where we will provide the public with all of the information surrounding the objectives on the sewer plant in Wickham District. The meeting will be at 1 o'clock. So it's the general board meeting for the May 16th meeting happens to fall at 1 o'clock. So the public hearing on that bond resolution will be 1 p.m. on that same day. As the town clerk mentioned, the sewer mapping is one of the grants. We're going to pass a resolution to accept a grant or the bid from TAM for the sewer mapping project in Mountain Lake Park. This is to help us expand the parking capabilities of our grass lot that we have across the street, where unfortunately the sewer system lies, and we're just trying to protect that. In addition, I updated the board on progress being made with Jane Street Bridge. As we apply for state funding, we seem to be getting attention from the state. A recent inspection of the bridge identified that it is unsafe to pedestrian foot traffic, and the DOT requested that we immediately install preventative measures. We've since installed the DOT-approved fencing around the bridge to keep people from walking over it. We know it's inconvenient, but rest assured there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I expect to have the results of our grant application any day now. Our Recreation Director, Samantha Walter, has been working incredibly hard in putting together a town-wide emergency action plan relating to parks and sports organizations that may use our fields. It was brought to my attention that in January a new law took effect requiring towns and sports teams have an approved AED and cardiac arrest plan in place. Sam and I have already met with many of the local rec teams to begin the process of working with each of them to collaborate on a unified plan. Thank you, Sam, for the great work. I received your draft plan today, and it looks very good, and we'll meet tomorrow morning to continue working on that. I received a bid response to our RFP from a local company looking to rent kayaks, paddle boards, and pedal boats at Wickham Lake. The fee in the bid came in at $1,000 per month paid to the town. We get a great benefit by highlighting this amazing lake and park, and the community will have greater access to enjoy nature at this park. The town board and our attorney will review the bid response, and we will look to act on this possibly at our next meeting. And I did meet with Ben down there with the bidder, and very satisfied with their goals and their plans, and I think it's going to make an incredible improvement to Wickham Park. I'm happy to report that the Town of Warwick Police Department has instituted a new policy. The town is comprised of 4 posts and 3 shifts per day. Over the course of those 3 shifts, the officer covering that particular post in the town will be required to perform checks on our local parks and public properties. So this means, for example, Wickham Woodlands will be checked by a police officer at least 3 times per day, 7 days a week. The same goes for Union Corners Park, Pine Island Park, etc. We've heard complaints of speeding, unleashed dogs at some of these parks, so the residents asked for us to address the issue, and we think this will do exactly that. This is not to say that our police officers were not checking parks before, but it will now be a mandatory check requiring a call into dispatch when the property check is completed. I'm happy to report that, as per our recommendation, the Wallkill River Flood Committee has prioritized the Celery Ave Ledge project. This project will surely have a positive effect on mitigating flooding in the Black Dirt region. We look forward to supporting the committee and Orange County Soil and Water as the project progresses. As for some upcoming events, this Saturday is going to be a busy day around the town for Little League. Greenwood Lake has their Little League opening day parade and opening day ceremony, and that's going to be at 9 a.m. The kickoff for the parade is from Chase Bank, and it goes down to Lions Field at the end of Elm Street, and that kicks off at 9 a.m. Florida is going to have their Little League opening day ceremony starting at 10 a.m. at their Little League fields. The Warwick Valley Rod and Gun Club is hosting a Take a Kid Fishing Day, May 4th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Baird's Farm. This is a great event to get your kids out there doing some really wonderful stuff, fishing at one of our most beautiful properties in town, where the Wawayanda Creek traverses through. It's really a great time. Arbor Day celebrations, we have the 5th and 6th graders who entered into a poster contest. They're going to be right here in Town Hall on April 17th at 3:30 in the hallway, displaying their posters and kicking off Arbor Day celebrations. And then at Mountain Lake Park, we're going to host a tree planting on Arbor Day, April 27th at 10 a.m. So the public is encouraged to be there. Clean Sweep takes place between April 20th and April 27th throughout the town. We're hosting Coolest Recycling Drive in partnership with Sustainable Warwick, where we'll be collecting refrigerated items such as air conditioning units and refrigerators One of the drop-off locations will be at DPW's Dial-A-Bus Center on April 22nd from 3 to 7 p.m. There will be other drop-off locations throughout the town, Florida, Greenwood Lake, Village of Warwick. Just take a look at the Town of Warwick website to find more information about that event, as well as other clean sweep activities for the week. That concludes my report. At this time, we'll open it up to privilege of the floor on any topic. Would anyone like to speak, comment, or address the board? Yes, ma'am. If you wouldn't mind coming up here, saying your name for the record.
Two questions.
Sure.
My name is Deborah Wittels, and I have been a resident. I'm sorry. Spell that, please. Wittels. I've been a resident here for 32 years. I just have a couple of quick questions. The first one is about the village roads and the town roads. They're deplorable, and I'd like to know what's going to be done with them and being fixed instead of the potholes just being filled in.
Which roads specifically are you referring to?
Just in the village itself, the town itself, going towards Greenwood Lake, by Corwin's, leading up past the deli, up in that area.
So those are all state roads. Although they fall within the village and the town, they're owned by and maintained by the state of New York. It's funny, I went to the senior center today to speak with them, and
Oh, it's terrible.
their biggest complaint, I mentioned roads, paving roads, and I thought they were gonna start throwing chairs at me. Those are state roads. Now, not to say that, they're state roads are somebody else's problem.
Right.
The town board, previous town supervisor, the local mayors, they have been pressing state officials every single week to get on those roads. And in fact, if you go out here, you look at the maps, there is a plan that has been promised, keyword promised, by the state to address the roads throughout Warwick, starting with the 94 corridor going through Florida, and then working its way through the village of Warwick out to Price Chopper in that area, and then working its way over Mount Peter into Greenwood Lake. It's our responsibility as a town board to continue pressing them. Even the commissioner and I had a conversation about Jersey Avenue, which is another state road, and I say to him, what are we doing about that? And he says, we've been fighting them every single week, trying to get somebody to pay attention to these roads. Again, they've committed to doing it. They've promised. We've heard New York State promise before. It's our job and our responsibility to stay on them, keep the pressure on them, keep the pressure on our elected officials, Senator Skoufis, Assemblyman Brabenec, and make sure that they understand our frustrations. But from our perspective, we've been doing everything we can to continue to press them and make sure that we're staying on their radar. So hopefully the answer is they're saying that by the end of this year, by the fall of this year, they will start the work going through the village of Florida and then working their way through the village of Warwick out toward Price Chopper and then making the left heading toward Greenwood Lake.
So if it's been in a process for quite a while and it doesn't
About
get
3
done,
or 4 years.
what
And
is
the
next
reason,
process
the
to go
reason,
above?
right, well, the reason it is because anything dealing with the state, and whether it's wrong or right, the state overdoes everything. The level of bureaucracy to get anything done in the state is horrendous. So what they do is they over-engineer everything. They put every single thing, as simple as paving a road, must go through engineering. But they have to reroute culverts, they have to look at sidewalks, they have to look at parking plans. They did put an extensive amount of time and money and energy into developing a plan to pave these roads. Some would say maybe it'd be better to just lay over a layer of asphalt and just move on. But I do believe that the state has shown a good level of commitment by putting in significant engineering resources to make sure that this is not just a patch, but rather a long-term solution, completely replacing the layers of road that is the state highway. So I genuinely, I'm very skeptical of the state in almost every single sense, but they have shown a significant level of commitment in their investment already into improving the roadways through Warwick.
Okay, because I'm a pediatric nurse in the area, and husband and my son are attorneys. So if there's any way that a letter can be written to, move this along
it doesn't hurt. I would say the biggest pressure should be put on our elected officials at the state level, Senator Skoufis, Assemblyman Brabenec. They should get a call every single day.
Okay.
They should get a letter. They're getting a lot of heat from across the county, across the district.
Right.
Warwick is further along than most other places in the county in terms of getting paving done and getting better quality paving done, not just those little shabby jobs that you see with a halfway strip of asphalt
Right.
going down the road. We're very far in the process of getting these roads fully replaced. So I think we've made a lot of progress with the state. I just think that the only thing we can do right now is press our state officials to get it done.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not a problem. My second question was, it was brought to my attention just recently about Mount Alverno. That has
Alverno?
Alverno, that has closed. Is there any plans for any type of housing to be done with that? Or anything coming up in question? Because it was brought to my attention that they're looking at it maybe for the migrants.
I don't know who they would be. That is in the village of Warwick, and it wouldn't come before our board, wouldn't come before our planning board. We would essentially have no say unless it were a seeker and it was some sort of an action that required town board intervention. I have not heard anything.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I shouldn't inquire. So, fair question. I will definitely inquire and see if there's any discussion about what may take place there.
Because it was brought to my attention by a local contractor in this area.
Okay.
There was word going around, and there's a rumor going around, that they're looking into that facility.
Yeah, I
Because
would
it's closed.
find that hard to believe because I
Okay.
think the investment, like, there's just so much money in Warwick right now that I think an investor would probably beat anything like that to the punch. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be looked into.
Okay,
I'll take a look at that.
all right.
Yeah, I think that's an important, even if it doesn't turn into that, I still think that that's a pretty significant location within the town of Warwick that should be
Because
checked into.
It's a big facility.
Really is, yep,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if, they tried.
Well, we live in a funny world
this
these days.
government, I'm not
There's a lot of
surprised, but-
funny things happening, that's for sure.
Okay.
Can't overlook anything.
So when will, all these questions be finalized? I mean, will it be at the next meeting? Do I have to go to a village meeting, or?
Which specific question will be finalized?
Well, I mean, with the town, with the roads, I mean, that's the least.
Oh,
of
no,
concern.
I don't have an answer for you.
No, I'll just call.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
don't have a
I'm not
problem.
gonna come back on our April 25th meeting and say they're definitely paving the roads. I'm gonna give you the
No,
same
no.
answer. I've seen with my own eyes the investment that they've made,
Right.
and they're committing to doing it. I take it for what it is,
Right.
but at the end of the day, we gotta pressure our state representatives to make sure that they do it. And then as far as the Mount Alverno, that's something I would go to the village board with,
And when
and
do
pose
they
that
meet?
question. I don't know, Tom, do you know when the village board?
It's every other Monday at 7:30, and I believe, I have to check my calendar, but I believe it's this coming Monday is our next
Okay.
meeting.
And it's here, right?
No.
It's in the village,
Oh, it's
the
in the
village
village,
hall
okay.
on Main Street.
Okay, I'll be there.
And if you get any good information, please report back.
It was just brought to my attention, and I was just, I've been up here 32 years, so I was just trying to, I said I would come to this meeting tonight, see what's going on, if there was any word or anything was out there, or it was just somebody that just said something, that they're looking into it.
I haven't heard anything even remotely close to it, but that doesn't mean that it's not
Okay,
happening.
I'll go to the village meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Any other public comment on anything? No? Sam, do you have anything else to report that we may have missed? Ben?
Well, just that we took the plows and sanders off the trucks. So it will not snow again.
It will not snow again. Do you know that we had an earthquake last week and you're here saying it's not gonna snow again?
I was on call, we had rain, wind, and snow and earthquakes.
Oh, man, I can't wait to blame you for the snowstorm we get next week. All right, very good. Moving on. New business. We will move into our resolutions for the evening. I make a motion to adopt local law number 3 of 2024, amending local law number 5 of 2023, a local law amending a partial tax exemption upon real property based upon the owner's voluntary membership in fire districts and ambulance districts within the town of Warwick pursuant to section 466-A of real property tax law to include deceased member partial exemption eligibility so as to entitle unremarried spouses of deceased volunteer firefighters and ambulance corps to continue or reinstate the exemption received by the deceased volunteer firefighter and ambulance corps consistent with the applicable laws of the County of Orange, State of New York.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution that the town of Warwick is hereby submitting its application for consideration under the fiscal year 2025 Orange Urban County Consortium Community Development Program, and the chief elected official or executive officer is hereby authorized to submit this application for Winslow Therapeutic Riding Unlimited for the continuation of the therapeutic riding program in the amount of $25,000 as described in the proposal. Input from citizens and groups has been received and considered, and the application has been prepared which addresses their community concerns. They further certify that they have read and understood the Orange Urban County Consortium Community Development Guidelines for the fiscal year 2025 program year and have met all of its applicable requirements, and that the information contained in the application is accurate and true to the best of their knowledge. If awarded CDBG funds, the municipality shall implement the activities in a manner to ensure compliance with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to approve the following budget transfer to cover the costs of purging and shredding expired town records from equipment line A00.00.1410.200 to maintenance contracts A00.00.1410.434 in the amount of $400. Other microfilming A00.140488 to contractual A00.140412 in the amount of $4,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Resolution number 24-158.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission for Jordan Novak to serve alcohol at the Mountain Lake Park on May 25th, 2024. Certificate of liability and liquor liability of insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to authorize the use of the roads in the town of Warwick by the Warwick Lions Club for the 33rd Annual Labor Day 5K Road Race to be held on Monday, September 2nd, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., pending approval by the Chief of Police. Applications and proof of insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I'm not going to vote or make a motion on the Greenwood Lake Volunteer Ambulance Corps LoSAP program because I am a member of the Greenwood Lake Ambulance Corps and a member of the LoSAP program.
Motion to adopt a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 Service Award Program Certificate, LoSAP, for the Greenwood Lake Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to Samantha Quitrock to serve alcohol at Mountain Lake Park on April 14, 2024. Certificate of liability and liquor liability insurance is on file in the clerk's office. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to Megan Darcy to serve alcohol at the Mountain Lake Park on April 10th, 2024. Certificate of liability and liquor liability insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
I just want to make a correction, April 20, 2024.
Did I say April?
You said 10.
I'm sorry, April 20th, 2024. Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission for Lisa Anna Carl Mueller to serve
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to Mary McKinley Greenwood Lake Theater to serve alcohol at the Mountain Park on the following dates: May 4th, May 5th, May 10th, May 11th, and May 12th of 2024. Certificate of liability and liquor liability insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to refund a $200 to refund $200 back to Crystal and Bo Davis for a withdrawn application of a detached garage.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a municipal tourism grant request for the town of Warwick through Orange County.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to adopt a resolution to appoint Jennifer Lucas as a member of the Town of Warwick Assessment Board of Review to expire September 30th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to appoint Thomas Schweigert as a part-time seasonal laborer at a pay rate of $18 per hour, effective April 13th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept HDR engineering design fees for 5 FEMA projects listed below at a cost to be reimbursed from FEMA not to exceed $600,000. One is the Hoyt Road Culvert, Cascade Road Culvert, Pumpkin Hill Road Culvert, Ball Road Culvert, and the Old Ridge Road retaining wall.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I make a motion to adopt a resolution accepting bid proposal for maintenance and snow removal at Kings Estates Park District from Elegant Landscaping for 2024 at a cost not to exceed $23,000 annually, to be billed at $1,916.16 per month.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept the resignation of Robert Jackson as a part-time bus driver effective immediately.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Let's see.
Is this, oh, in this one?
I make a motion to adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Warwick, New York hereby establishes the following as standard work days for elected and appointed officials, and will report the following days worked to the New York State and local employees retirement system based on the timekeeping system records or the record of activities maintained and submitted to this official to the clerk of this body, as recorded on this agenda.
Second.
Hold on.
Receiver of taxes, 11.5 hours, town councilman, 3.34 hours, Councilman Cole, 3.34 hours, Councilman Mattingly, 3.3 hours, town supervisor, 27.86 hours, town justice, 5.93.
So,
I amend my second.
you amend your second? All right, I made the motion. You have a second?
I seconded it.
Discussion. The discussion is that this is for reporting purposes for New York State retirement system. What we have to do as elected officials, because we're not held to the same scheduling, so to speak, we had to show a record of our activity. So essentially what I did was I provided my entire schedule, my calendar for every single day that I worked for town hall, and the councilman provided a record of their activity that they worked on behalf of the town. The receiver of taxes did the same, as well as the town justice. And this is just basically reporting and certifying that these results, which the town clerk has.
Detailed, and keep a record of it if anybody wants to.
Right.
Very detailed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to schedule a public hearing to hear and consider public comments on proposed improvement of the facilities of the Wickham Sewer District Number 1. Said public hearing to be held on May 16th, 2024, at 1 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Town Hall, 132 Kings Highway, Warwick, New York. All written comments must be received by the board at or prior to the public hearing. The proposed improvements include new headworks building, upgrades to the aeration and clarifier tanks, sand filters, sludge dewatering process, and electrical system, new supervisory control and data acquisition system, and other building and site upgrades. The estimated maximum cost for the proposed project is $16 million, which includes estimated construction costs, 25% construction contingencies, and engineering, legal, and administrative expenses. The project will be financed by a combination of grants and low-interest loans. A map, plan, and report of the proposed improvements is on file in the town clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to appoint Stephen Helmick at a rate of pay of $18.25 per hour, effective April 12th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept the bid proposal from TAM Enterprises for camera in sanitary sewer lines at Mountain Lake Park at the cost not to exceed $3,200 per day.
Second.
Second.
Per day or for the whole?
It's per day, but
it should
they're gonna
only
go
take
as
one
far
day.
as, it should only take one day.
Okay, that's
It's
fine.
per day to have the equipment there, yep.
All right, wanna make,
But we're gonna stop after one day. It shouldn't take more than one day.
okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Did we have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion to adopt a resolution accepting a bid proposal for Floor Coverings International for final flooring in the Receiver of Taxes Office in the amount not to exceed $2,950.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Give me one moment while I confer with the attorney about the one additional resolution. All right, so the discussion I was having with the attorney related to the revocation hearing that we were having earlier, the reason we have these revocation hearings, really we were able to see it play out in a positive way today. The individual brought some information to our attention that we felt was germane to our decision-making. So we don't have a decision at the moment. We will reserve our right to make a decision on this as to whether or not we will uphold the appeal or reverse the appeal and allow them to continue renting the short-term rental. The attorney has confirmed that that does not necessarily need to be done at a town board meeting. It can be done tomorrow. So what I would suggest we do is wait to see if we get the information that the individual had mentioned that she is in possession of. And if that is the case, then I would be of the mind that we allow them to continue their short-term rental operation.
Yes, Supervisor Dwyer, that's correct. At this point, the hearing is closed. There'll be no further information considered other than the substantiation of the representations that they made tonight. Upon receipt of the substantiation of the representations, then there'll be a written decision issued, which requires no further public hearing and need not be done at Town Board Meeting. We'll issue that out, and that will be provided to the appellant, and it will be available to anyone with the town clerk's, at the town clerk's office.
Is everybody good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. Any more bills? May I have a motion to pay all audited bills?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll get in a lot of trouble with my office if we don't pass that motion. They'll have a lot of checks that won't go out tomorrow. Any other privilege of the floor on any other general topic? Mr. Helm, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having this meeting.
Just state your name, please, for the record.
Yes, my name's Michael Helm, and I'm from Sustainable Warwick, and I want to thank the board for supporting the Coolers Recycling Drive. We've got brochures which are available.
Thanks, Mike.
So, as the brochures say, we collect all refrigerant-containing appliances. We did this last year, and got 130 appliances. We really appreciate the publicity that the town and the other villages give it. Just last night, I was at Greenwood Lake Lions, and actually posed for a picture with Floyd D'Angelo's wife there and others. I'm hoping all of you will do the same. I brought sunglasses in the event you're available after the meeting to do that. Do you have questions about the Coolers Recycling Drive?
Yes, I have a question. Do you take like old printers, computer printers?
No. We take any appliance with refrigerants, so think air conditioners, dehumidifiers.
Think coolant, the coolest, right? Refrigerators and air conditioners.
And the reason for that is, in the olden days, those coolants, those chemicals were very bad for the ozone, but that was long ago. Nowadays, last year, about half of the ones we got were the R22 machines that still have a little bit of bad things for the ozone. Most of them, though, all of them, though, have very intense greenhouse gases, so I'd like to give this example. A lot of us know, like, what a pint of beer is, or a pint of ice cream. We know a pint is a pound. If you took a pint of gasoline, a pound of gasoline, and you burned it, it'd make about 3 pounds of carbon dioxide. But if you took a single pound of this R410A, which is a really common refrigerant, the coolant, and just let it go into the atmosphere, it would act like 4,000 pounds of CO2. So if only 10% of these machines we think are properly recycled where the refrigerant was covered, the others, they go to the landfill, and then, the pipes get loosened and the refrigerant gets to the atmosphere. And so it's a very simple way and cost-effective way to prevent a lot of greenhouse gases.
And for those who are economically minded, it's a great free way to get rid of your
Junk,
junk.
that's right.
Yeah.
We're happy to take people who want to get rid of it.
And we get paid for it. We're getting paid for all of these items, so that's a great thing too.
That's right. Hudson Tech agreed to do the refrigerant recovery work this year for free. Last year, Sustainable Warwick paid a different company $9 per machine. So this year, we don't have any of that expense. And then the scrap metal at the end, the DPW, I understand, is going to load it in the dumpster, and we'll get paid for that. It should be like $4 or $5 per machine.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your hard work and organization on this. I think the publicity's been great. It's a great service to the community, and we appreciate it.
Very good. And can I get that photo with somebody after the meeting?
Yeah, of course.
Great. I brought extra sunglasses in case you don't have yours here.
Okay. Anyone else? Privilege of the floor. Okay, our next town board meeting is April 25th. We don't have any public hearings or anything on that day, right? Wow, that's a first for a while. Our next town board meeting is going to be April 25th, which is a Thursday. It is always preceded by a public workshop that happens right here in Town Hall. So that generally begins at about 6 p.m., between 6 and 6:30. Everyone's welcome to sit in on that, but the general meeting will begin at 7:30 promptly on April 25th. Thank you all very much for coming, and that concludes our meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Have a good night, everybody.